Y10K fractured. Chapter 7. Hazy sounds. Voices, maybe. TJ couldn't tell. His body felt weightless, boneless. His thoughts dragged, thick and slow. He forced his eyes open. For a moment, nothing made sense. Then, an arm, thick, muscled, marked. He squinted, fighting to focus. The shape resolved just long enough to register. "Tattoo," he murmured. "He's waking up," a voice said somewhere nearby. "Let the cold take him," another answered. "We can't risk drugging him again." TJ tried to turn his head, tried to see. Everything slipped. Light. Sudden, blinding. Cold, sharp enough to cut. The arms holding him tightened, then shifted, lifted. For a split second he felt weightless. Then he was thrown, falling, down into nothing. And then the darkness took him again. "We will have to hold court at Castle Cintron for now," Taurus said as he and Gabrielle moved through the damaged corridors. What the night gales had spared, the quake had finished. The palace was ruined. Reports were still coming in. At least 20 dead, many more injured. Taurus had already sent what people he could away to tend to their own estates. "Prepare the royal residence for transfer by nightfall," he told the head chamberlain. "I am told Castle Cintron held." "Yes, Majesty." Gabrielle accepted a document from a page and handed it over. "Lormara District." Taurus skimmed it as they walked. "Lormara proper remains intact. County Amberset reports minor damage, none to the manor. A mine shaft collapsed, but it had been evacuated, no fatalities." He handed the report back. "Have you seen Alterian?" Amentressa asked, approaching from the direction of the shattered executive link. "There's smoke across the river. It looks like the entire district is burning." "It is likely," Taurus said grimly. "They refused the electrical conversion. Oil and wood fires. After a quake like that." He let the thought trail. Alterian had been a problem in his father's time. It would be his now. "How far did you reach toward the throne room?" he asked. Amentressa winced. "I didn't make it past my audience chamber. The door was torn from its frame. The guards nearly went through the floor removing it." Taurus nodded once. "Then the structure is compromised." He turned to the architect accompanying them. "It is," the stallion confirmed quietly. "The palace will need to be raised." Taurus drew a slow breath. "Then so be it. We move." They crossed what remained of the great hall. Commander Prothos met them there. "I understand we are evacuating, Majesty?" "Yes," Taurus said. "The palace cannot hold. We move to Castle Cintron this evening. For now, the encampment outside." Porthos inclined his head. "Then you should know. Joden did not die with the others." Taurus stopped. "You let him go?" "I sent them all into the storm," Porthos said evenly. "Joden found another way out. He survived. The rest did not." "That confirms it," he added. "There's another exit. The palace was compromised before the quake." Taurus's expression hardened. "Then it is well we are leaving." "I will inspect the cellars at Castle Cintron once we arrive," Porthos said. They stepped out through the shattered entrance into the open air. The encampment stretched across the lawn. Then Taurus noted the silence. Everyone was staring upward. He turned. The sky burned. Light spread across it in shifting waves. Unnatural, consuming. "What is that?" Gabriel murmured. Beside him, Amentressa's grip tightened on his arm. Taurus did not answer. He could not. Another pair of eyes watched the lights. These were not eyes filled with awe or fear. They understood. The red and orange streamers stretched across the sky, shifting, alive. To most it was a wonder or an omen. To this watcher, confirmation. Around them others stood transfixed, some murmuring, some silent in dread. "Look, there!" one of the stallions shouted, pointing. A figure took wing from the shattered edge of the palace. Astronomer Royal Thurman, gliding toward the encampment below. "All right, that's enough." Deputy Commander Tropus stepped in, clapping sharply to break the spell. "His Majesty has people to study the lights. You've got work to do. Pack up. We move to Castle Cintron." Reluctantly, the stallions stirred. Motion resumed. Orders were followed. But the sky held them. Even as they worked, glances kept drifting upward, pulled back to the burning horizon. The watcher did not look away. Ericor looked up at the broiling sky. For a moment, something close to a smile touched his expression. Things were aligning. At last. He did not linger. It was time to move. Ericor took wing, leaving Agra Hall behind and cutting a direct path toward Olorusny. The manor was already dead when he arrived. What had once been the great hall had collapsed inward, leaving only a hollowed shell. Windows gaped open, empty sockets. The marble floors, once immaculate, lay buried beneath broken stone and splintered beams. The front doors hung wide, torn from their fittings. Debris littered the terrace. Ericor descended lightly and stepped inside. Silence. Too complete. He moved forward, slow, deliberate, eyes tracking, listening. There was no movement, no voices, nothing. Almost nothing. A faint sound reached him, just in time. Aramythica was burning. They gathered on the snow-covered lawn as flames consumed what the quake had spared. Servants wept openly. Others, stronger, steadier, hacked through ice at the ornamental lake, hauling water in frantic bucket chains. Tigris cut through the chaos with a sharper solution. "The tower! Bring it down!" Axes bit into the legs of the water tower. The structure groaned, then gave way, crashing down in a thunder of wood and iron. Water burst outward, hissing across flame and stone. Steam rose in choking clouds. It bought them time. Santron moved between the lines. The fire crews, then the medical tents sat well back from the heat. Inside the air was warm, thick with herbs and smoke. Nekabit's voice carried before he reached the entrance. "I understand the stitching," she was saying through clenched teeth, "but must the needle be so dull?" "It will be over shortly, my lady," the physician replied, steady despite her tone. "A finer stitch means less scarring." The apothecary passed him a cloth. He pressed it gently to her leg. Only the one gash, Santron said as he entered. Nekabit looked up, pale but composed. And no burns despite the skirts. That's something, he said. The tower's down. They've struck the main body of the fire. His gaze shifted to the other cot. His mother lay still, bandaged at the head, breathing evenly. How is she? Sleeping, Marasima said quietly. The physician has seen to her. No serious harm, the physician added. A minor blow. She will wake in good order. Santron nodded once. Nekabit, enough. You sound as though they are taking the leg entirely. She muttered something under her breath. Then Santron noticed it. The light. A strange orange glow filtering through the canvas above. Not the fire, he said slowly. Everyone looked up. It may only be reflection, Marasima offered. The physician frowned. No, that glow is wrong. It's above us, behind us. The house is there. There is no light in that direction. Santron turned and stepped out the rear of the tent. The physician and apothecary followed. All three stopped. The sky burned, not with flame, but with motion. Red and orange streamers twisted across the darkening vault, drowning out the stars. Then came the streaks. One, then another, then dozens, then hundreds. By the crown, the apothecary whispered and fled back inside. Shooting stars, Santron said, though the words sounded thin. Natural. But this, they're not meant to be here, the physician said. Not like this. I've heard of such lights, but only far to the north. Santron let out a short, brittle laugh. Gales, quake, fire, and now this. If I believed in omens, I would say the world was ending. Shall I fetch you something for the nerves, my lord? The physician asked, perfectly straight. Later, Santron said, if there is a later. He watched the sky. The streaks burned out before reaching the valley. None struck the ground. Not like before. He remembered that, years ago, one had fallen, torn a scar into the western mountains, flattened forests, left a crater now filled with water. This was not that. This was something else. A thunderous collapse behind them pulled his gaze back. Part of the south wing gave way, sinking into itself in a cascade of stone and embers. Across the lawn, others were beginning to notice the sky. Heads lifted, work slowed. Even the fire seemed to pause, just for a moment, as the heavens unraveled themselves above.